The Dubai evening breathed a golden sigh through the arched windows of the majlis, painting mosaic tiles in shifting patterns of amber and rose. A low, reverent hum filled the ornate room, hushed conversations, and the clink of porcelain creating an atmosphere at once grand and intimate. Zara sat, a quiet shadow amid the tapestry of silk and tradition. Her deep emerald abaya seemed to absorb the light. It offered little comfort against the chill that clung not to her skin, but to her soul. Her gaze, once bright and inquiring, was distant, fixed on shimmering reflections across the polished marble floor. She watched, unseeing, as a servant replenished dates and cups of kawa on a mother-of-pearl table, the spicy scent of cardamom, a bittersweet memory. An aromatic ghost of evenings when Omar's hand sought hers beneath voluminous sleeves, his presence an anchor in a world adrift. Each whispered conversation and gentle laugh from clusters of women deeper in the room felt muffled, as if she observed life through a shimmering veil of grief. Her own veil provided only a flimsy shield against the world's insistent joy, a happiness she could no longer feel, a melody lost in the canyons of her heart. Her slender fingers trembled as they traced the gold thread embroidery on the carved armrest of her plush seat, its texture a solitary anchor in the suffocating fog of thought. Omar's name was a fragile secret behind her ribs, a persistent ache, a warmth she yearned to rekindle, but knew was extinguished. His absence was a vast, echoing void, colder than the desert night, swallowing light and sound. The majlis, once a sanctuary of warmth, stories, and laughter, now felt like a gilded cage. Its beauty, an opulent display of wealth and heritage, contrasted cruelly with her barren inner landscape. She longed for a corner where sorrow was not intrusion, and her silence was understood, not merely tolerated. Gold accents, crystal chandeliers refracting daylight into tiny rainbows, and jewel-toned carpets absorbing footfalls, all spoke of privilege and connection. A world that held her captive, yet offered no solace. Her breath hitched as a memory flickered with startling clarity. Omar's strong hand intertwined with hers, a silent promise beneath starlit desert skies. The memory was a shard of glass, beautiful yet painfully cutting through her fragile composure. A tremor began in her chest, a familiar precursor to the wave of despair that threatened to engulf and drown her. Just as her grief peaked, a soft, melodic voice of concern cut through the ambient sound. Gentle yet firm, it bridged the small, self-constructed divide she had made. A familiar presence cast a soft shadow over her knees, a shift promising a break in her solitary vigil. "My dearest Zara, why do you choose to sit here so completely by yourself, my love?" The sudden turn of events, from moments of shared anguish to this stark reality, momentarily stunned Zara. The soft, melodic voice of her aunt, Layla, had just moments ago offered a fragile anchor in her desolate grief, drawing her back from the precipice of private sorrow. Now, the weight of a far more public and devastating accusation descended, a chilling contrast to the intimate compassion she had just received. The very air in the ornate majlis, which had moments earlier felt thick with unspoken sympathy, now crackled with a different tension, a heavy sense of impending judgment. Layla, her silk robe still rustling softly from her comforting presence at Zara's side, now found herself at the heart of a maelstrom. The whispered accusation against Layla, a rumor that quickly solidified into a formal charge, reverberated through the hushed conversations. It centered on the theft of a rare, ancient pearl, rumored to have graced a royal collection, from the opulent jewel of the Sands boutique, a jewel so exquisite it was said to shimmer with an inner light resting on a bed of midnight velvet. This wasn't merely a crime, it was an affront to the city's elite, a stain on the pristine reputation of its most exclusive purveyor of luxury. Layla, hailing from a humble quarter, a place devoid of powerful connections or influential lineage, immediately faced a torrent of prejudice. Her social standing, a stark counterpoint to the city's glittering aristocracy, served as instant proof in the eyes of many. The vast difference in power and status between her and the city's entrenched elite became glaringly evident, a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. The initial disdain she encountered, the casual dismissal of her character based solely on her origins, evoked a strong, visceral empathy from the few unbiased observers present. A quiet sense of injustice began to settle over those who truly saw her, an understanding of the immense, unfair battle she was about to face. The delicate scent of jasmine, Layla's signature fragrance, now seemed to mingle with a faint, metallic tang of foreboding, a stark presage of the arduous path that lay ahead. This unfolding drama, eclipsing even Zara's profound grief, demanded immediate attention, pulling everyone present into its inescapable current. The Majlis, once a sanctuary of quiet reflection, transformed into a crucible of nascent conflict. While Zara slowly began to emerge from the enveloping mist of her grief, finding fragile solace in Layla's quiet strength, a different world, far removed from the hushed elegance of the Majlis, shimmered with a dazzling, almost aggressive brilliance. It was the world meticulously crafted by Zayed, the impeccably dressed and effortlessly charismatic manager of the Jewel of the Sands boutique. He moved through the marble palace atrium, the very heart of his extravagant domain, with an almost regal bearing, his silk thobe perfectly tailored, his cologne a subtle, expensive whisper that announced his presence before he spoke. Every interaction was a performance, a carefully choreographed display of polished charm and unassailable confidence, presenting an image of such effortless success that it seemed less earned and more inherently bestowed. The very air within the atrium, already grand with towering arches and gleaming marble, was constantly infused with the rich, hypnotic scent of an Arabian oud diffuser, a heavy, luxurious fragrance that clung to every surface, underscoring the opulent environment he not only controlled but, in essence, embodied. This was his kingdom of glittering illusion, a testament to his perceived power and impeccable taste, where every meticulously placed piece of jewelry, every exquisite objet d'art, reflected his discerning eye and seemingly boundless influence. The jewel at the apex of his current ambition, however, was a magnificent pearl, one he had publicly declared stolen from his own collection, setting off a calculated ripple of concern and hushed speculation throughout the city's elite circles. This purported theft was, in truth, a masterstroke of ingenious misdirection, a carefully orchestrated prologue to its grand re-unveiling. The pearl was destined to be the star item, the unquestioned centerpiece, at an upcoming exclusive charity auction. An event Zayed had not merely organized, but meticulously designed as a pivotal moment for his own strategic ascendancy. He envisioned it as the ultimate platform to not only solidify his already formidable reputation, but to elevate it, to cement his status as an astute businessman and a connoisseur of unparalleled taste, transforming mere success into an enduring, unassailable legend. His outward charm, a dazzling facade of practiced geniality and impeccable manners, masked a deeply calculating ambition, a shrewdness that relentlessly weighed every decision, every interaction, for its precise potential to further his relentless climb up the treacherous echelons of power and societal prestige. Each perfectly angled smile, each impeccably phrased compliment, was a strategic move, a subtle manipulation in his elaborate game of social chess. The extravagant environment of the boutique itself, from the intricate mosaic work adorning the floors to the shimmering displays of precious gems housed within custom-built cases, served as both a vivid reflection and a potent tool of his authority, a magnificent stage where he directed every aspect of his meticulously crafted narrative. The stolen pearl, an object of immense beauty and traditional significance, was merely a carefully deployed pawn in his grand design, its eventual re-emergence engineered to cast an even brighter, more flattering light upon its discoverer, Zayed himself, the tireless architect of his own gilded destiny. His hunger for recognition was boundless, an insatiable void that constantly demanded new triumphs, new accolades. He moved through his world, convinced of his own untouchable brilliance, entirely unaware of the subtle currents of truth beginning to stir and coalesce beneath the polished surface of his perfect illusion. Currents that promised, with increasing intensity, to challenge the very foundations of his meticulously constructed reality, threatening to expose the fragile artifice that held his entire empire in precarious balance. The courtroom drama opened with a hushed formality. Judge Rashid, the guardian of the scales, a somber figure, presiding over the proceedings with unyielding impartiality. The initial testimonies against Layla commenced, their weight resting largely on circumstantial fragments and the widespread perception of her unassuming background, a stark contrast to the city's opulent elite. The stark, cold light filtering through the high windows of the courtroom intensified the gravity of the accusations, painting Layla as an isolated figure, confronting an entrenched institution that inherently leaned towards wealth and established power. Her modest attire seemed to shrink against the backdrop of gilded decor, further highlighting the chasm between her and her accusers, amplifying the silent struggle she faced against a system seemingly designed to favor those with influence. The air crackled with unspoken judgments, each word uttered against her feeling like a stone added to an invisible burden. She met each glance, each veiled insinuation, with an unyielding gaze, her inner strength a silent defiance against the mounting tide of suspicion, an unshakable resolve shimmering beneath her composed exterior. This early phase of the trial was a test of endurance, a gauntlet of veiled disdain and presumptions based on social standing rather than concrete evidence, forcing Layla to confront not just the charges, but the deep-seated prejudices that ran beneath the polished surface of the legal system, threatening to engulf her in its relentless current. She understood then, with piercing clarity, that her fight was not merely for personal vindication, but against a pervasive cultural bias, a battle waged for the very essence of justice itself. The soft glow of the Majlis, once a cruel mockery of her inner darkness, now cast a gentle, hopeful light upon their intertwined hands, a symbol of enduring connection in the face of profound loss. Layla's eyes, soft and luminous, held Zara's, a shared understanding passing between them, without the need for words, a silent pact of support. A barely perceptible nod from Layla confirmed this unspoken connection, a subtle invitation for Zara to find her voice again, to reclaim her place in the vibrant tapestry of their lives. Zara felt a fragile thread begin to weave itself through the tattered edges of her grief, pulled taut by Layla's quiet strength. The world outside, for so long a blur of indistinguishable details, slowly sharpened into focus, colors deepening, sounds gaining clarity. The distant murmurs of the Majlis transformed from a muffled din to individual conversations, each word a tiny anchor in the swirling current of her thoughts. The scent of jasmine, Layla's ever-present perfume, no longer merely mingled with the cardamom, but infused the air with a fresh promise, a subtle shift in the emotional landscape. It was a gentle reminder of the vibrant life that persisted, even as her own soul felt barren. Layla's hand, still a comforting weight on her arm, was a palpable link to the present, a silent refusal to let Zara retreat entirely into the chasm of her sorrow. The profound understanding in Layla's gaze was not a mirror reflecting Zara's pain, but a window offering a glimpse of resilience, a quiet strength that transcended the immediate anguish. This shared moment, suspended in the elegant space, was a delicate negotiation between grief and the insistent pull of life, a slow, tender awakening. The silence that had once been a fortress around Zara now felt less like protection and more like a barrier, one that Layla was patiently, lovingly helping her to dismantle, one unspoken gesture at a time. The memory of Omar, though still a tender ache, no longer consumed her entirely. It was now a part of the tapestry, not the whole cloth. The gilded cage of her sorrow was subtly transforming, its bars softening, hinting at an exit she hadn't dared to imagine. A faint stir of obligation, a tiny spark of renewed purpose flickered within her, not demanding, but gently inviting her to step forward. She slowly lifted her gaze, meeting Layla's eyes, and in that shared glance, a silent whisper passed between them, a recognition of the enduring power of human connection, a quiet promise to face the unfolding future, whatever it might hold, together. The soft agreement in Zara's eyes solidified the unspoken pact, a fragile understanding blossoming amidst the solemn grandeur of the court, a silent preparation for the battles yet to come. Layla, drawing strength from that shared resolve, subtly straightened, her gaze now sweeping towards the entrance of the witness box as the next figure approached. A hush, heavier than the velvet drapes, settled over the room, the air growing thick with anticipation. Samira, draped in a haute couture abaya that shimmered with an almost defiant elegance, moved with a studied, deliberate grace that couldn't quite mask the tremor in her hands. Her silk garment, a subtle gift from Zayed, whispered tales of allegiance and hidden debts, a stark visual counterpoint to Layla's modest yet dignified attire. The delicate embroidery on Samira's sleeves, seemed to tighten around her as she ascended the steps, each footfall echoing with a hollow formality that belied the internal storm raging within her. Layla's keen eyes, sharp with both intellect and an innate understanding of human frailty, absorbed every detail: the forced composure in Samira's posture, the faint sheen of perspiration on her brow, the way her gaze darted nervously, refusing to meet anyone's direct stare. This was not the confident socialite who once glided through opulent gatherings, but a woman tethered by invisible chains, her every movement a betrayal of inner turmoil. A subtle scent, not of jasmine, but of a richer, heavier perfume clung to Samira, an artificial facade attempting to conceal an underlying anxiety that permeated the space around her. The weight of her testimony, Layla knew, would be immense, a calculated blow designed to reinforce the prosecution's narrative. Yet beneath the polished veneer, Layla sensed a deeper current, a faint vibration of truth struggling to surface. This witness, so carefully placed by Zayed, was a fragile piece in his elaborate deception, a crack in the gilded armor he so meticulously constructed. The judge, his presence a still point in the swirling vortex of the courtroom, observed Samira with a discerning calm, his gaze a silent challenge to the carefully rehearsed performance. Layla felt a surge of renewed focus, her mind already dissecting the potential inconsistencies, the subtle tells that would unravel Samira's testimony, brick by painstakingly built brick. This was not merely about discrediting a witness, it was about exposing the insidious layers of manipulation that underpinned Zayed's scheme, revealing the true architect of shadows. Samira's testimony might appear detrimental on the surface, a seemingly insurmountable hurdle, but Layla knew that every lie, however artfully woven, carried within it the seed of its own undoing. She leaned forward almost imperceptibly, her senses heightened, ready to listen not just to the words, but to the unspoken narrative, to the subtle dissonance between what was said and what was implicitly felt. The air, heavy with unspoken tension, bristled with the promise of revelation, a quiet prelude to the dismantling of a carefully constructed falsehood. Layla recognized that Samira, despite her forced allegiance, held a critical key to unlocking the true extent of Zayed's deceit, a silent accomplice caught in a web of her own making, waiting for the gentle yet firm hand of truth to set her free, even if she didn't yet realize it. The moment stretched, pregnant with unspoken questions, as Samira finally reached the stand, her eyes, for a fleeting instant, meeting Layla's across the cavernous room, a silent plea for understanding, or perhaps for salvation. The moment stretched, pregnant with unspoken questions, as Samira finally reached the stand, her eyes, for a fleeting instant, meeting Layla's across the cavernous room, a silent plea for understanding, or perhaps for salvation. A ripple of whispers, quickly hushed by the bailiff's stern glance, momentarily fractured the courtroom's tense stillness, each sound amplifying the fragile nature of the truth about to unfold. Samira's hand, resting lightly on the railing of the witness box, revealed a tremor, a subtle betrayal of her carefully constructed composure, a testament to the internal battle she waged. The opulent crystal chandelier above, once a symbol of revealing light, now seemed to gleam with a harsh, almost accusatory brilliance, casting stark shadows across her features, highlighting the conflict etched on her face. Layla, her senses heightened, observed every minute detail. The fleeting aversion of Samira's gaze, the way her silk abaya, a garment of forced luxury, seemed to constrict rather than flow, echoing the invisible bonds that held her captive. The rich, heavy perfume that clung to Samira, a desperate attempt to mask her inner turmoil, became a poignant counterpoint to the quiet, persistent scent of jasmine that emanated from Layla, a symbol of unwavering integrity. The air, thick with unspoken narratives and the weight of impending revelations, crackled with a silent energy, a prelude to the unmasking of carefully guarded secrets. Judge Rashid, his expression a mask of impartial discernment, offered a slight, almost imperceptible nod to the prosecutor, signaling the commencement of what promised to be a meticulously orchestrated testimony, yet one that Layla instinctively knew harbored hidden fissures. This was a dance of deception and revelation, played out on a grand stage, with Samira as a reluctant pawn, her every word a carefully weighed sacrifice on the altar of a gilded facade. Layla braced herself, not for the obvious lies, but for the subtle distortions, the half-truths, that often proved more insidious, more difficult to dismantle. The path to justice, she understood, was rarely a straight line, but a winding journey through layers of artifice, each twist and turn demanding unwavering focus and an unyielding commitment to the unvarnished truth, even when it proved painful. The courtroom, with its soaring ceilings and polished marble, seemed to amplify the chasm between her and the man she sought to expose. Each legal maneuver, each carefully worded objection, felt like another brick in a wall that privilege had erected. Yet, Layla felt a deeper current, an unshakable belief in the power of intellect. Her simple designer kaftan, though modest, carried a quiet dignity that belied the immense pressure she faced. She understood that challenging Zayed meant challenging the very fabric of a society that revered status, a daunting prospect that would demand every ounce of her cunning and composure. The subtle glances from the gallery, a mix of skepticism and burgeoning curiosity, fueled her determination, reminding her that this fight was not just her own. The golden light filtering through the vast windows, no longer merely decorative, now seemed to illuminate the immense weight of the cultural battle she waged, a solitary figure against a deeply entrenched system. She knew that her mind, unchained by material aspirations, was her most potent weapon. The next steps would require a strategic shift, a move beyond the confines of the courtroom's direct testimony, into a realm where Zayed's carefully constructed deceptions could truly be undone. Her gaze, sharp and unwavering, sought the eyes of Judge Rashid, a silent promise to peel back every layer of artifice, to expose the raw truth hidden beneath the glittering facade, no matter the cost. The unspoken weight of societal expectation pressed heavily upon the grand courtroom, a palpable current beneath the polished veneer of justice. Layla's humble origins, a quiet counterpoint to Zayed's ostentatious wealth, formed an invisible barrier that initially threatened to overshadow her meticulous accusations. The esteemed institution, often swayed by the subtle hand of influence and affluence, seemed to hesitate, grappling with the stark audacity of a young woman challenging a figure of Zayed's perceived stature. Despite this formidable societal resistance, Layla's resolve remained an unyielding beacon, mirroring the profound truth that true wealth lay not in gilded cages of material possession, but in the boundless expanse of a mind unchained. This conviction propelled her forward, steeling her for the arduous next phase of her intricate battle. The very air in the Riyadh financial district, though humming with the ambitions of commerce, now carried a different, more resonant current, a whisper of hope, a testament to the unyielding force of intellect and moral fortitude. This fresh understanding, hard-won through Layla's relentless pursuit, began to permeate the very foundations of the community, inspiring a generation to seek not the fleeting gleam of gold, but the enduring radiance of truth. Her story, now a guiding light, promised a future where authenticity would always triumph over artifice, a timeless narrative etched into the heart of a modern metropolis. Her quiet strength, once underestimated, now echoed through the halls of power, a melody of triumph, reminding all that the most precious treasures were those cultivated within the mind. The journey, arduous and fraught with peril, had ultimately unveiled a profound truth. True liberation came not from escaping a gilded cage, but from realizing one's own inherent value, a freedom far more magnificent than any material possession. The dawn that broke over the city now held the promise of a truly unchained future, a legacy born from Layla's unwavering resolve. The silent conviction Layla offered Judge Rashid reached beyond the courtroom, echoing a truth she knew extended past local bounds. She perceived Zayed's web of deception stretching like invisible threads across borders, a charade demanding a global unraveling. Her mind, a repository of linguistic mastery, began to forge an independent investigation, a quest to unearth evidence where currency and culture diverged. This was no longer merely a legal battle in the Riyadh financial district. It was a testament to intellectual freedom, a tenacious spirit understanding that justice might require journeys across uncharted territories of human communication. In that expanse of deceit, knowledge became an oasis, and her gift of tongues its vital wellspring. Her resolve, once focused on the local court, broadened to a global landscape of contacts and information. She opened channels with foreign financial institutions, regulatory bodies, and discrete individuals holding fragments of knowledge, each exchange a delicate negotiation of trust. Initial responses were formal, shaded by international caution and the intricate dance of differing legal frameworks. Yet Layla met every linguistic and cultural barrier with respect and gentle persistence, slowly dismantling walls of reticence. She traversed Arabic cadences, shifted to precise European structures, and attended to Asian intricacies. Her voice, soft yet authoritative, cut through bureaucratic jargon and initial reluctance. She inspired confidence not merely through fluency, but through a deep grasp of cultural nuance within each exchange. Layla was not only a translator, she was a scholar of context, a bridge builder between systems of thought, skilled at discerning subtle implications and hidden meanings in complex financial and legal language. Her proficiency manifested a mind unbound, able to cross not only geographic distances but intellectual chasms separating international dealings. Each successful connection, each piece of intelligence, solidified her certainty that Zayed's scheme was vaster than imagined. Her quiet, diligent inquiry peeled back layers of financial obfuscation, revealing networks of illicit activity spanning continents, concealed beneath a veneer of legitimate commerce. This phase underscored her relentless pursuit of truth, illuminating paths conventional legal processes might never touch. The golden light that once lit the courtroom now seemed to affirm her solitary journey across distant lands, signaling a new dawn where truth would prevail beyond borders. Her spirit, resilient and tenacious, drew strength from every linguistic bridge and cultural barrier transcended. The grand tapestry of Zayed's deceit was beginning to unravel under the relentless, multifaceted assault of her intellect. Proof that the most potent weapons were not metal or gold, but a mind truly free. This global quest, arduous and fraught, steadily amassed the evidence to shatter the gilded facade, ensuring justice, like a desert rose, would bloom in unexpected places. The promise of clarity, once distant, grew palpably nearer, carried on the wings of her resolve toward a convergence that would redefine accountability. Layla's quiet resolve, a force more potent than any gavel, resonated through the hushed courtroom, a silent promise to the assembled that her pursuit of justice would not be bound by conventional walls. The intricate tapestry of Zayed's deceit, she knew, stretched far beyond the ornate confines of the Riyadh financial district, a web of shadows cast across digital landscapes and distant ledgers. Her intellect, honed by a lifetime of academic rigor and an innate curiosity, now turned its unwavering focus to the unseen threads, the invisible data points that often held the most damning truths. This audacious shift in strategy demanded not merely legal acumen, but a deeper understanding of the clandestine currents flowing beneath the polished surface of global commerce. The air, heavy with the scent of anticipation, now carried a new charge, a subtle hum of technological potential, as Layla prepared to introduce an ally whose expertise resided not in eloquent speeches, but in the silent language of code and algorithms. He moved with a quiet efficiency, his modern, tailored thobe a stark contrast to the traditional robes that dominated the court. His eyes, keen and analytical, missed nothing, absorbing the complex layers of data with an almost preternatural ease. Adnan's presence was a statement in itself, a testament to Layla's understanding that Zayed's elaborate scheme had relied heavily on carefully constructed digital illusions. He began his meticulous analysis, his fingers dancing across a secure interface, peeling back the layers of fabricated financial records. Each line of code, each timestamp, each seemingly innocuous digital signature became a potential tell, a vulnerability in Zayed's meticulously built fortress of lies. The doctored surveillance footage, once a seemingly insurmountable obstacle, now yielded its secrets under Adnan's discerning scrutiny, revealing the subtle manipulations, the carefully inserted edits designed to frame Layla and obscure Zayed's tracks. The prosecution's evidence, initially presented with such certainty, began to fray at the edges, its false coherence unraveling thread by invisible thread. Adnan's quiet work, a symphony of logic and precision, confirmed the profound depth of the architect of shadows deception, exposing the very foundations of his carefully constructed artifice. The crescent moon, visible now through the towering windows, cast a silver gleam upon the polished marble, a silent witness to the unfolding battle between ancient traditions of justice and the modern tools of truth. Layla watched Adnan, a faint, almost imperceptible tremor of hope stirring within her, knowing that each exposed falsehood, each undeniable piece of digital proof, was a step closer to dismantling the gilded cage that had sought to imprison her. The courtroom, once a stage for Zayed's performance, was slowly transforming into an arena where pure intellect and technological prowess would hold sway, promising a dawn where truth, unburdened by artifice, would finally illuminate every hidden corner. The path ahead was arduous, yet a palpable sense of momentum gathered, carrying her toward a revelation that promised to redefine the very essence of justice. The digital trails Adnan uncovered, meticulously presented, painted a stark picture of Zayed's intricate web of deceit, stretching far beyond mere local embezzlement. These virtual breadcrumbs led Layla and her digital sentinel to the opulent yet secluded luxury desert resort, a name whispered in hushed tones within certain circles, a place of clandestine dealings beneath the shimmering Arabian sun. It was here, amidst the golden dunes and beneath the vast, indifferent sky, that Zayed had woven a crucial part of his elaborate tapestry of lies, a sanctuary where illicit transactions with Khalid, the elusive international fence, were conducted with unsettling regularity. The very air of the resort, infused with the rich scent of Arabian oud, subtly disguised the underlying currents of corruption, creating a deceptive sensory experience that mirrored the grand artifice of Zayed's public persona. The contrast between the pristine, high-tech modernity of the Riyadh financial district and this hidden desert haven was jarring, a stark visual representation of the two disparate worlds Zayed inhabited. One was a stage for his carefully cultivated image of success, the other, a shadowed retreat for his true, avaricious nature. Layla understood that unraveling this particular thread of the deception was paramount, as it exposed the true geographical reach of Zayed's illicit activities. This secret sanctuary, far from the watchful eyes of the city, had been his fortress of hidden transactions, a place where the lines between opulence and illicit dealings blurred into an almost seamless tapestry. She envisioned the sprawling, luxurious complex, its high walls and secluded villas, as a gilded cage of a different sort, trapping not just the wealth of others, but the very integrity of those who entered its gates. The investigation now shifted its focus, moving from the sterile glow of computer screens to the sun-baked, perfumed air of the desert, each grain of sand a potential witness to Zayed's transgressions. This was where the true extent of his network and the scale of his betrayal would finally come to light, leaving no corner of his duplicity unexamined. The opaque nature of Zayed's illicit dealings, spanning vast distances and shrouded by disparate legal frameworks, demanded a different inquiry. Layla knew complete answers would not come from Adnan's forensic data alone, but from nuanced conversations across borders where currencies and conventions shifted and subtle inferences mattered. Unraveling his charade hinged on her ability to navigate those linguistic landscapes, to speak the tongues that kept his secrets protected by red tape and cultural layers. Her intellect, honed under courtroom pressure, now stretched across continents, each connection forged with precise focus. She began to initiate contact, building relationships with international financial institutions and regulatory bodies. Each careful conversation became a bridge over the cultural chasms that had safeguarded Zayed's network, allowing her to piece together the mosaic of his deceit. Initial responses were polite but reluctant, a barrier in the guarded realm of cross-border inquiries. Layla met each exchange with deference and steady respect. Her gentle persistence testified to her belief in truth's triumph. She moved from the lyrical cadence of Arabic dialects to the crisp articulations of European tongues and the intricate structures of Asian languages. Her soft, composed voice carried an authority that cut through bureaucratic jargon and officials' reluctance, instilling confidence and trust. This was more than linguistic skill. It revealed a mind unchained, traversing intellectual, geographical, and cultural boundaries to illuminate hidden pathways in Zayed's web. Back in the hushed Riyadh courtroom, a pivotal moment arrived when a key piece of international correspondence, crucial to exposing Zayed's manipulations, was introduced as evidence. The densely worded document, in an unfamiliar language, produced blank stares. Judge Rashid, impassive, nodded to the prosecutor and requested a clear translation. Layla rose without hesitation, her designer kaftan shimmering under the chandelier as she began. The courtroom held its breath. She did not merely translate words, she interpreted their implications, explaining subtle legal intricacies and hidden meanings, bridging languages and legal traditions. Her explanation was precise, lucid, and graceful, rendering the inscrutable document suddenly clear. A low murmur swelled into awe as her talent became apparent. "Mashallah!" came soft exclamations, acknowledging her extraordinary gift. Observers, their skepticism dismantled, recognized the breadth of her linguistic mastery, solidifying her credibility and marking her indispensable to justice. She grasped not only literal meanings, but the spirit and intent of the documents, dismantling much of Zayed's bulwark of deceit and exposing its fragile foundations. Golden light through the windows seemed to embrace her, an affirmation of her quest for justice. The desert rose, a symbol of resilient truth, felt nearer, its beauty glimpsed through the dissipating veils of deception. This was no longer merely a legal battle, but a testament to intellect's triumph, true wealth in an unchained mind, translating not just words, but entire cultural mountains. Each syllable she offered was a stone in the bridge to Zayed's undoing, her voice a steady beacon in his fabrications. The sands of time were revealing long-hidden truths, carried on the wings of her determination. The courtroom, once a stage for doubt, became a vessel for revelation, charged with the promise of clarity. Layla's rigorous pursuit intensified, her focus now razor-sharp on Khalid, the enigmatic international fence whose shadowy operations formed a critical nexus in Zayed's illicit global network of luxury goods. The disturbing image of a majestic falcon, its powerful talons constrained by an ostentatious diamond ring, surfaced in her mind, a potent and unsettling metaphor for Zayed's twisted ambition, where the revered symbols of traditional power and honored heritage were shamelessly debased by a craving for corrupted, glittering wealth. Unmasking Khalid's intricate network and severing this dark lifeline was not merely a strategic move in the legal battle, it was an imperative act, a profound step towards reclaiming the sacred meaning of honor and heritage, cleansing them of the pervasive taint of greed that had so long defiled them. A methodical tracing of the network's convoluted paths commenced. Each fragile lead, no matter how tenuous, meticulously pursued with an unyielding precision that aimed to unravel the layers of financial obfuscation, protecting Zayed and his nefarious associates. Layla plunged deeper into the murky waters of international crime, her keen intellect navigating the digital breadcrumbs painstakingly unearthed by Adnan, cross-referencing these vital clues with the intricate intelligence gleaned from her sensitive linguistic exchanges across diverse cultures and jurisdictions. She understood with a chilling clarity that Khalid, a master of clandestine operations, moved with a cunning born of extensive experience and an almost impenetrable secrecy, a formidable adversary. However, Layla's unshakable determination, a force he had demonstrably underestimated, now surged, an unstoppable tide against his carefully constructed defenses. The air, heavy with the weight of impending confrontation, pulsed with a quiet, charged tension, a palpable prelude to her imminent unraveling of the very heart of Zayed's illicit empire. The battle, far from its conclusion, had entered a critical phase, and the scent of unvarnished truth, carried on the subtle currents of the desert wind, grew undeniably stronger, promising an inevitable dawn of absolute clarity. Each uncovered link, each exposed transaction, served as a crucial step towards dismantling the gilded edifice of lies. The scent of truth, once a faint whisper on the desert wind, now coalesced into an undeniable presence, sharp and clear. Adnan's digital expertise, a quiet storm of unassailable facts, merged with Layla's intricate tapestry of international connections, weaving a formidable net around Zayed's elaborate fabrications. Each decrypted file, every cross-reference transaction, illuminated a deeper recess of his grand deception, revealing not merely the extent of his embezzlement, but the precise, calculated movements of the missing pearl. It was a revelation that shimmered with an almost ethereal glow, a truth long obscured by layers of artifice, finally brought into the unforgiving light of day. The precious orb, once thought lost to theft, was never truly gone from the jewel of the Sands boutique. It had merely been expertly sequestered, a deliberate act of misdirection designed to ensnare Layla and divert all suspicion. The quiet understanding of this intricate lie settled within Layla with a profound sense of vindication, yet also a heavy awareness of the lengths to which greed would stretch. She envisioned the pearl, not stolen, but meticulously hidden, like a fragile desert rose preserved beneath a glass dome, its beauty and truth shielded from prying eyes, waiting patiently for the moment of its rediscovery. The motif resonated deeply, symbolizing the delicate yet resilient nature of the truth itself, a truth that, despite being encased in deceit, retained its intrinsic purity. The weight of this knowledge, meticulously constructed from fragments of data and whispered international exchanges, was immense, shifting the very foundations of the case. It was no longer simply about proving her innocence, but about unmasking the insidious manipulation that had sought to destroy her. The courtroom, once a stage for doubt, now awaited the irrefutable evidence of a meticulously orchestrated cover-up, a scheme far more intricate and cold-blooded than anyone had dared to imagine. Layla prepared to unveil this central piece of the puzzle, knowing its presentation would dismantle the remaining fragments of Zayed's gilded facade. The anticipation within her was not born of triumph, but of a quiet, unyielding resolve to see justice prevail, to restore honor where it had been so cruelly debased. The intricate details of Zayed's betrayal, from the digital breadcrumbs Adnan painstakingly collected to the carefully cultivated international network Layla had painstakingly untangled, now converged on this singular, devastating revelation. The pearl, a symbol of tradition and beauty, would become the very instrument of his undoing, a silent witness to his avarice. The air, thick with the scent of Arabian oud, subtly shifted, no longer masking deceit, but carrying the quiet promise of an unvarnished truth about to break free. The path to complete clarity lay before them, each step now illuminated by the radiant glow of certainty, a beacon against the encroaching shadows of a long-held secret. The court was poised to receive an undeniable narrative, etched in the very fabric of undeniable fact. The courtroom air, once thick with the scent of anticipation, now vibrated with a palpable tension, a hushed reverence descending as Layla prepared to deliver her crushing blow. Judge Rashid, embodying the very essence of the mirror of truth, leaned forward, his discerning gaze sweeping from the resolute young woman to the visibly struggling figure of Zayed. The rich golden light filtering through the towering windows seemed to intensify, focusing not on the ornate details of the hall, but on the unfolding drama, reflecting the subtle shift in the narrative as Layla's meticulously constructed case gained irrefutable strength. Zayed, the architect of shadows, his meticulously tailored thobe now appearing disheveled, fought a losing battle to maintain his composure. His polished exterior, once a seamless facade of unassailable confidence, began to crack under the immense pressure, the subtle tremors in his hands betraying the internal earthquake that threatened to engulf him. Each passing second, like grains of sand through an hourglass, metaphorically revealed his hidden truths, eroding the carefully constructed edifice of his deceit. The opulent surroundings, once a testament to his power and influence, now seemed to mock him, each shimmering surface reflecting the rapid crumbling of his authority, the imminent unraveling of his gilded persona. A collective breath rippled through the gallery, quickly hushed, as the true scale of the deception began to surface, not just through Layla's words, but through the palpable despair radiating from Zayed. Layla, poised and unwavering, met the implicit challenge of the moment, her resolve hardening with each passing glance towards the man she was about to expose. She knew the moment of undeniable clarity, of unvarnished truth, was not just at hand, but had arrived, a dawn breaking over the protracted night of his machinations. The air, heavy with unspoken questions, now held the distinct promise of answers, a quiet prelude to the dismantling of a carefully constructed falsehood that had cast its long shadow over so many. Layla stepped forward, her simple kaftan a stark contrast to the opulence, yet she commanded the space with an unyielding grace that silenced the last lingering whispers. Her eyes, pools of unwavering determination, met Judge Rashid's, a silent acknowledgement of the gravitas of the impending revelation. The crystal chandelier overhead seemed to focus its myriad points of light, not on the gilded trappings of the court, but on the single, unassuming figure who was about to dismantle an empire of deceit. A profound stillness descended, the kind that precedes a seismic shift, as Layla's hand, steady and purposeful, reached for the digital interface. Adnan's meticulous findings, the intricate web of fabricated records and doctored footage, now materialized on the large screens, a stark, undeniable testament to Zayed's artifice. Each pixel, each timestamp, screamed a silent accusation, illustrating with devastating clarity the calculated precision of the manipulation. The false coherence of the prosecution's case, painstakingly built on lies, began to unravel, thread by invisible thread, exposing the raw, ugly truth beneath. A collective gasp rippled through the gallery, quickly hushed, as the sheer audacity of Zayed's scheme was laid bare for all to witness. The golden light, filtering through the towering windows, seemed to intensify, illuminating the stunned faces, the dawning comprehension. Then, with a deliberate solemnity, Layla introduced the audio recording. The air crackled, heavy with the scent of anticipation, as Zayed's voice, unmistakable in its slick charm, filled the hallowed hall. His casual tones, negotiating illicit dealings with Khalid, the international fence, painted a chilling picture of avarice and betrayal. The details of the pearl's supposed theft, now revealed as a carefully orchestrated sequestering, resonated with devastating clarity. It was never truly gone from the jewel of the sands, merely hidden, a fragile desert rose preserved beneath a glass dome of lies, waiting for this moment of rediscovery. The full extent of his depravity, the cold-blooded calculation behind his every action, was laid bare, leaving no room for doubt, no space for denial. Zayed, who had stood with such an air of unassailable confidence, now visibly recoiled, his polished exterior shattering like glass. His hands, which had once gestured with such false authority, trembled uncontrollably, a tremor that spread throughout his entire frame. The opulent surroundings, once a testament to his power, now seemed to mock him, each shimmering surface reflecting the crumbling of his authority, the complete unraveling of his gilded facade. He darted a desperate glance towards Judge Rashid, a silent, desperate plea. But the judge's expression remained a mask of impartial discernment, hardened by the undeniable weight of the evidence. The sands of time, once flowing in Zayed's favor, now rushed against him, eroding every last vestige of his carefully constructed illusion. The silence that followed the recording was heavier than any spoken word, a thunderous acknowledgement of the truth unearthed, a profound recognition of justice finally being served. Layla, having presented the irrefutable, stood poised, her resolve a beacon against the encroaching shadows. The court, once a stage for doubt, was now a vessel for unvarnished revelation, charged with the promise of clarity that would forever redefine the very essence of justice, and his fate sealed. The silence that descended upon the courtroom after Layla's final, damning presentation was not an absence of sound, but a profound void, heavy with the weight of inescapable truth. Zayed, the man who had sculpted his life from cunning and avarice, stood utterly exposed, his elaborate tapestry of lies torn to shreds by the undeniable force of the evidence. His gaze, wild and desperate, darted frantically around the packed gallery, searching for an ally, a flicker of doubt, but found only condemnation mirrored in every shocked face. The vibrant colors of the ornate ceiling, once a backdrop to his charades, seemed to press down on him, amplifying the internal collapse that had begun to fracture his composure. A guttural cry, more animal than human, tore from his throat, echoing starkly through the hallowed hall, a sound of absolute, unbridled despair. He crumpled, his knees giving way beneath him, a once imposing figure reduced to a shuddering wreck at the witness stand. The desperate, choked utterance of "Wallahi" escaped his lips, a pathetic plea for a divine intervention he had long forsaken, a hollow denial against the mountainous proof of his ultimate betrayal. It was a raw, visceral confession, wrung from the depths of a soul finally broken, a public unraveling witnessed by the very society he had sought to manipulate. The lavish life he had meticulously crafted, an illusion built on deceit and insatiable greed, began its irrevocable dismantle. The foundations of his power, once thought unshakable, crumbled before the eyes of the stunned city, transforming him from the revered architect of shadows into a symbol of spectacular downfall. The air, thick with the scent of his shattered ambition, seemed to hold a collective breath, absorbing the final devastating blows to his authority. This was not merely the end of a trial, it was the abrupt, violent cessation of an era, a searing testament to the power of truth unchained. The golden light, pouring through the high-arched windows, no longer hinted at hidden opulence, but illuminated the stark reality of his ruin, casting long, unforgiving shadows over the remnants of his former glory. His grand illusion, a gilded cage he had constructed for others, now became his own prison, its bars forged from the very lies he had propagated. The quiet, resolute strength of Layla had not just exposed his crimes, but had orchestrated a complete dismantling of his entire existence, a lesson etched into the very stones of the courtroom. The reverberations of his public breakdown would ripple far beyond these walls, carrying the undeniable message that even the most formidable fortresses of deceit could not withstand the relentless tide of truth, now flowing freely through the heart of the city, irrevocably altering its course. The collective exhalation that swept the hallowed courthouse chamber was more than sound. It was a palpable current of relief that lifted the oppressive weight of the preceding weeks. Zayed's candid confession shattered the fabricated edifice of guilt that had entrapped Layla, dissipating the accusation like desert mist before the morning sun. Her name, once tarnished and whispered in judgment, was cleared with a clarity that settled into her weary bones like a soothing balm after relentless injustice. A communal catharsis cascaded over the assembled observers. Their upturned faces reflected a shared release from the tension that had gripped them. Layla stood not merely acquitted, but vindicated, her integrity shining through the darkness that had sought to engulf her. From the periphery of the hushed gallery, a figure of regal composure began her measured approach. Amina, the matriarch of elegance, moved with a grace that commanded attention without demanding it. Her discerning eyes, usually pools of careful assessment, now brimmed with incandescent admiration and a maternal gratitude as they fixed on Layla's surprised face. Owner of the famed Jewel of the Sands boutique, Amina felt compelled to act, moved by the victory of virtue over malice. Layla's steadfastness under duress resonated with the resilience and moral fortitude Amina prized in life and business. As Amina drew nearer, the murmurs faded into reverent quiet. She extended a perfectly manicured hand, not for a perfunctory greeting, but as a gesture of respect and emerging partnership. Her voice, melodic, authoritative, warmly sincere, cut through the courtroom solemnity. "Layla," she began, carrying conviction, "your ordeal has shown unwavering integrity and a perceptive intellect, an intuitive grasp of cultural nuance few possess. The Jewel of the Sands seeks to deepen its connection with our heritage, and your empathetic perspective and insight are precisely what we need now." With quiet confidence, Amina then presented an unprecedented offer, a dual role at her boutique, official cultural liaison, tasked with weaving the narratives of their traditions into bespoke offerings, and a sensitive security consultant, leveraging Layla's acumen in deciphering opaque situations and anticipating threats. Amina had recognized in Layla a strategic, formidable mind beyond appearances. This appointment was not merely employment, but a public acknowledgement of Layla's talents and a rebuttal to the malicious accusations that had sought to diminish her. As a deeper testament to her belief in Layla's potential, Amina also granted a generous scholarship for advanced study in any field Layla chose. The scholarship signified more than financial aid. It was a long-term investment in her future, a recognition of her curiosity, resilience, and capacity for growth. It was an invitation to expand intellectually and enrich both her life and the community she would serve. The courtroom that had been an oppressive crucible transformed into a launchpad for Layla's journey, brimming with unforeseen opportunity. The weight of her past fell away like an unwanted cloak, allowing her to step into a future where her brilliance would be celebrated and her spirit, unfettered, could soar. This new chapter promised not merely a fresh start, but a rediscovery of purpose and power, her narrative rewritten in bold strokes of honor, recognition, and promise. The warmth of Amina's offer enveloped Layla, a profound sense of destiny blossoming within her as she considered the horizon now unfolding. This call to leadership resonated with the core of her being, a natural extension of the fierce determination that had guided her relentless pursuit of truth. Her gaze swept across the faces in the gallery, no longer a faceless blur but individuals whose perceptions had been indelibly altered, their understanding of justice profoundly reshaped. A quiet, yet immense responsibility settled upon her, the recognition that her victory transcended mere personal vindication. It carried far-reaching implications for the very fabric of the community she held so dear. The invigorating scent of justice, sharp and pure, seemed to chase away the last lingering vestiges of Zayed's deceit, promising an enduring clarity. She envisioned a future where young women, emboldened by the principles she had championed, would navigate their own paths with unwavering courage and razor-sharp intellect, their minds truly unchained by societal expectation or the deceptive allure of superficial wealth. The golden light, now a gentle caress rather than an interrogation, seemed to affirm this hopeful vision, illuminating a vast tapestry of possibilities. Layla's quiet contemplation served as a tender bridge, connecting the arduous trials of her past with a future brimming with newfound purpose, a solemn commitment to sowing the seeds of lasting change. The air, still holding a faint echo of the day's dramatic revelations, now hummed with the vibrant promise of an unchained future for the city, a legacy forged in the unyielding power of truth and unwavering resolve. This nascent era, she understood, would be one where genuine worth outshone transient glitter, where intellect and integrity would forever stand as the true architects of enduring progress. The conviction that had blossomed within Layla deepened into a steadfast core, a quiet revolution of purpose. No longer content with navigating justice, she felt pulled to shape it, so the next generation would find strength not in inherited status, but in the bedrock of their own intellect. Amina's offer, a beacon of foresight and grace, solidified her resolve to cast a wider net of empowerment. Her gaze, no longer fixed on the past, swept the gallery, seeing not a crowd, but a tapestry of potential waiting for the threads of inspiration she was ready to weave. The crisp scent of newly delivered justice, sharper than a desert bloom after rain, chased away the last vestiges of deceit, promising a future of cleaner truths. She pictured countless young women, their minds unchained from expectation and fleeting wealth, charting audacious courses with courage and keen intellect, guided by the principles she had championed. The golden light, a gentle caress rather than harsh illumination, affirmed this vision, painting possibilities across the Riyadh skyline. Layla's quiet contemplation became a bridge between an arduous past and a future of profound purpose, a solemn commitment to sow lasting change, not only within the legal system, but at the community's heart. The city outside, still echoing the day's drama, hummed with the promise of an unchained future, a legacy forged in truth and resolve that would reach beyond courtroom walls. Her acceptance of Amina's proposition resonated with quiet power. An unchained mind, Layla said, voice soft and unwavering, is the truest wealth, and I will dedicate my life to ensuring every young woman has the tools to forge her own destiny. That declaration marked the genesis of the Desert Rose Academy, an educational beacon to cultivate knowledge, resilience, and moral fortitude. Amina, eyes alight with approval, extended her hand, an unspoken pact between two formidable women committed to elevating a generation. Layla's curriculum would blend traditional wisdom with modern pedagogy, creating a sacred space where intellect could flourish free of convention. It aimed to nurture critical thought, ethical leadership, and a nuanced awareness of local and global complexities, preparing students for a world that too often prized appearance over substance. Envisioned as a sanctuary for aspiring minds, the institution would stand as proof that true prosperity lay not in fleeting gain, but in the freedom of thought. Soon, young women from across the Emirates, eager for enlightenment, began to enroll. Layla, now a visionary educator, found deep satisfaction in shaping nascent intellects, guiding them with the same dedication she had brought to her trials. The Desert Rose, once a solitary symbol of her journey, became the Academy's emblem, a testament to beauty, strength, and resilience in harsh terrain. Each graduation became a celebration of the unchained mind as a new generation emerged, ready to contribute their brilliance to society's evolving tapestry. The city, witnessing this transformation, embraced the Desert Rose Academy as a symbol of progress, a living monument that integrity and intellect are the true architects of a prosperous, enlightened future, its influence echoing far beyond its walls and into the horizon.